What made Ray Dalio, a longtime skeptic, finally admit to Bitcoin's success? Well, the answer might change how you and the world view their portfolios, investments, and money forever. We're gonna break down Dalio's move from doubter to believer, why Michael Saylor and Lawrence Lepard see $10 million Bitcoin as inevitable, and stay until the finish. We're gonna reveal why Bitcoin is about to be in everyone's portfolio and a lot sooner than you think, and it's not the ETFs. We got a lot to cover. Let's get it.
Party, that party. Come and have a good time with G.O.D.
You guys are actually bought any Bitcoin, but I certainly know that you're interested in it. We've certainly
I have some Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin's greatest risk is its success, because as it becomes more, right now, it's not such a big deal. And, you know, fighting it is more of a big deal. And that's it, because it's not that big a deal. As it becomes a bigger deal and more of a threat, let's say people want to sell their bonds and they want to buy Bitcoin, and they want to do that in a bigger way, like buying gold or something in a bigger way, and then there's more transaction. They lose control over that, and that's an existential risk.
Curious, crypto curious.
Okay.
Where has anything changed for you in that?
Yeah, just to everybody, let me state what I believe about crypto with Bitcoin, and what I've pretty much always been. I think it's been quite amazing that for 12 years it's accomplished this, but I think it has no relation to anything. Okay, in other words, it moves, it has no relation. It's a tiny thing that gets a disproportionate attention. You know, the value of Bitcoin is less than a third of the value of Microsoft stock. You could go into industries, biotech and many other industries are more interesting than Bitcoin. It's not going to be an effective money. It's not an effective storeholder wealth. It's not an effective medium of exchange. But we are in a world in which money as we know it is in jeopardy, right? We are printing too much, and it's not just the United States, all the reserve currencies, what's going on in Euroland, what's going on in yen. And so in that world, the question is, what is money and how's that going to operate?
If you want to buy gold, do you buy Bitcoin?
There are two purposes of money: a medium of exchange and a storehold of wealth. And Bitcoin is not effective in either of those cases now.
Store of wealth?
No, because first
potentially,
of all, it's too volatile.
So as we can go through the past, we see that Dalio definitely was not a believer. He seems to favor gold, things of this nature. And that was what Larry Fink, BlackRock, a lot of people did. But then something happened. Enters GigaChad. Now, at first, when the MicroStrategy CEO got in there, everyone was like, what is this guy doing? He's betting his whole life on a bunch of pet rocks? This dude's going to go bankrupt. He's going to destroy his company. What is he thinking?
You got to get yourself together. This is... What are you, a girl or something?
And I'm sure Ray Dalio was in that mix, but then Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy started winning in a major way.
Bitcoin is an asset class. And that's a major revolution. If Fidelity and BlackRock and if 10 other ETF issuers all agree that Bitcoin is an asset class, right? It should be 10x to 100x bigger than it is right now.
The world took notice, and then the turns tabled. The world, the investors, everyone started saying, why aren't you investing in Bitcoin? We want Bitcoin. Hey, Larry Fink, why can't we get an ETF? Get it done. Ray Dalio, why aren't you investing in Bitcoin? What's wrong with you?
You got to get yourself together. This is... What are you, a girl or something?
Yeah, right? And then Ray Dalio's like, no, I ain't no girl. I'm a man. Check this out.
Well, the evolution of Bitcoin over the years is one of the things that has influenced changes in my view. It has proven itself something like 10, 11 years ago. Imagine the programming of this, and you throw it out, and that's the idea. It has not been hacked. It has operated. It is built. It has come an amazing way over that 11 years to be maybe probably the most excited topic among a lot of people, and has been used and is now has obtained, the status of having imputed value. At the same time, it is one of those assets that is an alternative money. I think we're entering an era where there's going to be a competition of monies because of the printing of fiat money and the depreciated value. There will be a competition of monies. And Bitcoin is part of that competition.
I think a major part is that Ray Dalio has figured out, Saylor, Fink, the guys, they got it right. Bitcoin is flipping gold. It's in that process. The people will flee to the harder money, especially with the current geopolitical and uncertainty around the world. But currently, guys, the dynamics are insanely bullish for Bitcoin. There is now 25% less Bitcoin on exchanges than there was before the 2020 bull cycle. Demand keeps increasing because of the ETFs and accounting rule changes with FASB. Two of the three things Michael Saylor said would send Bitcoin to 10 million. And with Dalio, maybe he's been just taking in all the Michael Saylor and Lawrence Lepard podcasts. Maybe he got into some Ricky Salinas. Shout outs to Ricky here. Why should you buy Bitcoin? Because they can't make any more of it. You can't inflate the supply. You can't debase it. You're not living at the whims of some senile person in a government office. No, that stuff, that's like the telegraph. Your politics are extinct. They don't matter anymore. This is Hayek's revenge. Don't believe me? Well, the numbers and the eye in the sky, they never lie. Check this out. Bitcoin ETFs closing in on gold for assets under management. It's only been a month. 37 billion for Bitcoin, 93 billion for gold. So in about 2-3 months, looks like gold ETFs are going to be flipped by Bitcoin. Peter Schiff is just in disbelief. Someone check on that guy. And Dalio, definitely a Cantillon guy. He milked the system.
What are your thoughts on Ray Dalio in the first place?
Well, firstly, for Ray Dalio, congratulations on an incredible career, sir. You successfully milked the fiat system to its absolute end. You're going out on top. You had a plus 30% year last year, and you just the system perfectly, okay? So great job, Ray Dalio. You the system better than any of us fiat traders have ever the system. So congrats.
And the audacity, and that's another thing. He was like, at least we were in secret living off this stuff. Now we got, well, the clown brigade central bankers out telling everyone the scam and Ponzi scheme they're running, which is why Bitcoin's going to go to 100K, then 1 million, and then 10 million.
ETFs are actually buying more and more. And this is not surprising to us. I mean, there's a bunch of RIA money. There's, trillions, somewhere between 40 and 100 trillion of RIA money that could not access Bitcoin before. I mean, they could if they were going to buy GBTC, but that was a little too esoteric for people to do it. So as a result, they what they did was they sat on their hands, and now, of course, they can buy it. And so they're starting to slowly but surely educate their clients. Yeah, I love this chart. Isn't this great? I just love it. Right?
Thousands of thousands. You know that BlackRock hit 100. They're about to hit 100,000 Bitcoin. You know how long it took MicroStrategy to do that?
Yeah. Oh, I know. Right. Exactly. I mean, well, and here's the other thing that's very interesting to me. I mean, I saw a great tweet the other day that said something along the lines of, the ETFs, the 9 ETFs now own 1% of, the total available Bitcoin outstanding. And it was 210,000, right? And, gosh, I mean, in that buying of 1%, what do we go before the ETF was announced? Where were we? 38, 40-ish? I mean, they bought 1% and it shoved it up, 10 grand. I mean, that's impressive, right? So what happens? And they're just going to keep coming. They're just going to keep coming. So, and I mean, the sovereign wealth guys are going to buy it. I went to Dubai about a week or two ago for this thing called Satoshi's Roundtable. which is interesting, although there were a lot of shitcoiners there. But there are also a lot of wealthy Arab, oil-related guys there. And, wait until these guys really figure out that this is better than gold. I mean, some of them have. But, I mean, there's just so many big, big pools of money. And once they, there's just not enough of this stuff to go around. And so I'm beginning to think Samson's, maybe he's onto something here. I mean, maybe we do go to $1 million on this run. I certainly, 100,000 feels like a no-brainer.
Shoutouts to the great Max Kaiser. Stocks are setting up for another 1987 style crash. There's a lot of things mirroring, like 87, the dot-com crash, 08 crash. There's a lot of data. All these crashes kind of lead up and they have a certain, now it's just the gravity of how severe will the money printing be. That's what really determines the ceiling. But at the end of the day, we know how it ends, with Bitcoin emerging triumphant as the ultimate safe haven. Money is already fleeing the gold ETFs and pouring into the Bitcoin ETFs. This is the great transition. This is the great flippening. You know what lies ahead of us, ladies and gentlemen, to the Bitcoiners? Maybe to you haven't crossed the threshold yet. You haven't dove in. Well, if you do, you know what awaits us on the other side? Immortality. It's yours. Take it. Immortality, take it. It's yours. I don't think you understand the gravity of the situation with the supply squeeze, the ETFs. This accumulation is crazy. Bitcoin is already the fastest asset in history to reach $1 trillion market cap. It took 12 years, and these things are going to build and escalate. Bigger numbers bring bigger numbers. The next trillion will come a lot faster, and then the next 2 trillion will come faster. Then the next 5 trillion will come faster. This is what happens, and it's going to happen a lot faster than many people think. The arc is there. All you have to do is get on board. I mean, Ray Dalio basically lays out right here what is happening at the current moment. Fiat currencies are collapsing. That's why Bitcoin's hit an all-time high over the past year in about 12 other currencies. And it's like dominoes, one by one. The dollar probably be the last one, unless something happens with BRICS and they do some sort of commodity-backed, hard-backed currency or something that may delay that one. But if you want to escape that, you want to protect yourself from that, and these inept central planners stealing from you through inflation, you buy Bitcoin. Now let's get to it. We are going to 10 million. Again, the 3 catalysts. We had spot Bitcoin ETFs. Those are just going crazy. Fair value accounting came before that. And now we got the banks. The ABA are using the success of the ETFs and rules regarding who can custody them as a basis for some requested changes. Quote, it is practically impossible for banks to serve as custodian for those ETFs at scale due to their tier 1 capital ratio and other reserve and capital requirements. If the ABA are successful, this would fulfill the triad of bullish catalysts outlined by Saylor years ago. We will continue to be monitoring, and yes, the banks are really getting Bitcoin FOMO right now. Someone just busted the window out of your airplane. The oxygen mask dropped. The pressure's going out of the cabin. You just sit there and suffocate to death, or you just put the damn mask on. It's staring you in the face. Don't be a loser. Bitcoin is the winning strategy. You know, as major banks are getting FOMO, and then we also have Coinbase not allowing self-custody wallets to transact with the platform, it's time to make sure you get your Bitcoin off of exchanges before it gets 6102'd, or if you're just getting started and want to make sure you're doing things the right way and not KYCing everything, doxing yourself using Coinbase and other platforms that are not true to the Bitcoin ethos, we got just the guys that can get you covered. Hey, Simply Bitcoin Originals are powered by the Bitcoin Way. They're basically your IT team in the Bitcoin world, and we at Simply Bitcoin, we tend to deliver to you the why Bitcoin every day. We bash you over the head with it, but at the Bitcoin Way, what they're here to do is to help you go from understanding why you need Bitcoin to how to use Bitcoin, how to purchase it, how to stay secure, and how to use the best practices from the basics of wallet and node setup all the way to accepting Bitcoin payments and inheritance planning. Whatever your Bitcoin needs, they've got you covered, and they'll hold your hand through the process. If you're looking to get started, you can book a free 30-minute call using that link below. Reminder, ladies and gentlemen, the halving is not priced in. It's never priced in, and the dynamics are crazier than ever. This is extremely bullish. Don't get caught with your pants down. This is going to be the most immaculate bull run in Bitcoin's history. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's get to the big reveal. Okay, so how is Bitcoin going to be in like everyone's portfolio a lot sooner than you think? Well, MicroStrategy, as we've been talking about a long time, has been outperforming most of basically everything. It even outperformed Bitcoin since they started making their major play. But what does that mean? Well, MicroStrategy is about to enter the S&P 500, which means that anyone that is allocated to the S&P 500 will be indirectly allocated to Bitcoin. That means grandma, grandpa, Auntie Carlene, everybody with exposure to the S&P 500 will have exposure to Bitcoin, and through one of the most based companies in the environment with some major conviction. Reminder, ladies and gentlemen, Bitcoin is the exit strategy.
Ray Dalio says he'd rather own Bitcoin than a bond. There's 100 trillion in bonds. That was a big statement that he made just a week ago.
Right.
Corporate treasuries are holding bonds. As people rotate bonds and cash into Bitcoin, price discovery will return to bonds, and that means that you can buy an annuity for a fair price, and that's good for the world. It would be good to be able to buy a bond that had a good annuity stream. I think the price discovery will return to stocks, and you'll be able to buy a stock that pays a decent dividend that's less risky, and that will be good for the world. I think that you'll be able to buy, if we demonetize residential real estate, you'll be able to buy a house at half the price that's twice as good. That'll be good to the world. And so I think that the virtuous cycle is Bitcoin is demonetizing gold. Your jewelry will be twice as good, half as expensive. Is demonetizing real estate. Your house will be twice as big, half as expensive. Is demonetizing debt. You will be able to buy an annuity that yields 8% interest with no risk. Is demonetizing equity in ETFs. You'll be able to invest in a company and not pay 50 times revenue and take a risk. You'll be able to invest reasonably. And so Bitcoin fixes everything. And it fixes... And if you wish me to make a political statement, the political statement would be, it fixes governments because as it fixes everything else, governments act rationally. And right now, you can see governments acting rationally, right? In weak countries, their currency collapses to zero, and they have to adopt a new currency. Right now, they're adopting the dollar. I see a world where 8 billion people have a mobile device, and they have a digital wallet, and they have a digital currency like a dollar or a euro, and then they have a digital asset, Bitcoin. And Bitcoin links together 8 billion people, links together 100 million companies. It synchronizes the world across political jurisdiction, and it returns rationality to the entire financial system, and it returns freedom and property rights to the human race.
Now, the road to 10 million, that may take us until 2030. But what if I told you Bitcoin could hit six figures, 100K, blow past its all-time high in just 2 months? And not just that, Samson Mao thinks Bitcoin will finish this year at 1 million. Don't miss that. I'll catch you all next time. Peace.
If you prefer to go down with the ship, fuck you.